Great, because the Access Media is talking about it, and I think a lot of folks that don't want to believe things are true would like to think that what it is that we have been saying has been just a reach or a false or something. I had mentioned before, and other people have that in our space, that the change of the Punisher logo was a direct one, a concerted effort, and it wasn't one of those, okay, we're just trying to upgrade the brand type of situation. No, it's that there's a sector of people that generally lean a certain way politically that they don't like, that had adopted the Punisher logo and embraced it. So it ultimately boils down to there's people that they don't like that like this shit. And what this whole Punisher thing is about, spite. That's what it's about. It's about spite. So, looking at this, and this is from the Access Media, it's CBR themselves talking about this Punisher new skull design that it has debut ahead of his new Marvel series. You can see some of it right now, and we're going to read into it. This is Access Media. So CBR is one of the companies that basically shields for anything Marvel or DC, and they only criticize things with kid gloves because they don't want to lose their access. It's just what it is. Okay. Frank Castle's controversial new Punisher skull design has made his debut earlier than expected. Jason Aaron, who is a fucking hack, and a bunch of other guys. Their series debuts on March 9th, so next week. Frank makes an appearance on the final page of Daredevil Woman Without Fear, setting the stage for his new role as the Warlord of the Hand. So for those of you that don't know, he is now working, I think he's like running the Hand. The skull on Frank Castle's shirt has become a symbol of controversy in recent years, despite being present since his first appearance in 1974. This is largely because the skull, and they're admitting it, has been co-opted by police and military, which stands in stark contrast to Frank's status as a man who takes the law into his own hands when the system fails him. Okay, there's some conflation of issues there. Number one, I'm not a big fan of police and military, obviously, anyway. That's neither here nor there. But y'all do understand that Frank Castle was in the military. There's been depictions that have shown him that way. So, and it's nothing that's new. Like, there are depictions that have shown Punisher and his militaristic connection long before this recent controversy. Like, so the point is self-defeating when you're like, the military has co-opted it. What the fuck what did you think the Punisher come from? What do you think that he came from? Nonetheless, I don't think, maybe for the police aspect, but the military standpoint, I don't think what it is that he's doing necessarily somehow contradicts that. Obviously, it can't possibly contradict it because of where he's from and his own background. Someone said in the chat, I don't think they actually do know that. To be fair, maybe you're right. After writing The Punisher over the years, I've always been fascinated by the character Frank Castle. This is what Jason Aaron said when the Punisher series was announced, at which time it was also revealed that the Punisher skull was a redesign. What moments made him the Punisher even before that fateful day in the park, and how far will he go to win the war that has consumed his life? This story is destined to take the next step in the dark and tragic evolution of Frank Castle from troubled kid to heroic soldier. Well, they had mentioned that he's a soldier, to revenge-driven vigilante, to the duly anointed king of killers. Believe me when I say I am as excited about this story for anything I've ever written for Marvel. A few years ago, Jason Aaron came into the Creative Summits, and I'm reading this from CBR if I didn't mention that, with a pitch for Frank that made our collective jaws drop. And this is what Stephen Sobolski, he's still there? Oh, well, I guess that makes sense considering this company is dog shit in terms of what they put out with their books. The story Jason is telling is truly an epic tale about darkness, violence, and choices. Can only be told with the Punisher at its core. The series will build on Frank's legacy while introducing us to a side of him we've never seen before. Setting the stage for an evolution we'll find was inevitable. So what this does is just reaffirm. When they write something like this, I'm pretty sure this is one of those deals where, hey, Access Media, emails, whoever's helping over there at Marvel, hey, this is what we're going to cover regarding the release of this previous book that alludes to or finally shows, or we see it before it's published. In his old original series, we see it out of this Daredevil series that he has appeared. And I'm guessing this is it right here with this new redesign. But it does double down on, look, the change is centered around spite, bro. That's all it is. It's just Frank Castle, or that brand, that school, has been liked by people that we don't like, and therefore we want to do something out of spite, and we're going to adjust it. So now I don't know if that necessarily stops them from dropping that model, that logo per se, but it just goes to show to the great lengths these guys will go in order to do things, because they continue to mention that. Access Media is not mentioning that by accident. They're not mentioning the fact that, okay, well, people that were associated with the military or something like this and have adopted this Punisher logo or something like that. They're not saying that just to be saying it. They're saying it because that's why they're fucking doing it. You know what I mean? That's specifically why it is that they're doing it. They don't like, and it is politics at the end of the day. They don't like, their politics tell them who not to like, and they don't like you because you're not associated with them. And what happened is that brand, if it was just a bunch of, let's say, Black Lives Matter had adopted the Punisher logo, there'll be no fucking problem. In fact, you'd be doing all kinds of, you see more pumping up of that fucking brand in that regards. But that's not what you see, because with this, it's like, well, we rather just change it all together because we don't like the fact that it's associated, or rather there's comic book fans that think different from us politically. And I think that's the big difference from mainstream comic books now and mainstream comics before. As you know, it's funny, it comes from the whole ever inclusive and representation crowd, but ultimately it's just about having the same fucking ideology, and there's no balance. And that's where I'm less about bitching about politics and comics and more about there's no fucking balance in it. Everything from how you game plan, what books you put out, who's on the books, is all politically motivated, and it's all slanted one way, as in what politics are being presented in a positive light. They're not going to present conservative, open libertarian, let's say, like something that's really true to us. And they're not going to put that in a positive light like they would do these fucking long campaigns for Black Lives Matter or this fucking social justice cause or something like that. That's because it's being ran by one ideology, and that ideology is the only one that can be accepted or viewed at in a positive light, to the point where they will change a character's fucking logo because it's associated with people that they consider a political enemy. And that's what separated mainstream comic books now from what it was back before. It's the balance. It's not fucking balanced by any means. It's less about them doing all of this weird stuff, which is a part of it, is that they do all that weird stuff and there's nothing on the other side to the contrary. It's just the weird shit. You just listened to a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake, which is live throughout the week at 12 p.m. Central on youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. Be sure to check out my website, ericdjuly.com, so you can stay up to date with everything it is that I'm doing. You can also become a member and get access to a bunch of cool perks and exclusive content, which includes a social media hub where you can interact with myself and other members. It even has an app that you can get, which is now live in the Google and Apple stores.